even hit record. Try again. Sorry, guys, I'm starting over. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad you could join us for the website office hour today. We're going to talk about menus and links in your menus and what different types of menus our websites have. So we're going to cover some basics of what menus are. Most of us have a good idea, but there's some specific terminology in WordPress and within Divi itself. And there's different places where you can make changes to your menu. And then also we are going to talk today about how that menu affects your website specifically, because just know that there's a few websites out there that are a little different that don't use these drop-down menus. So things to be aware of as far as your specific website. I will throw the chat box up here where I can see it. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for anybody else who's joining us. If you have questions, feel free to just chime in, but also throw some things into the chat, especially if you have any specific questions about menus to begin with. Let's see. If not, I am going to move my screen around, and I've got several libraries up with some different examples right off the bat. So I'm going to share my screen. Pick the right screen here. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you're seeing the WVLS web page. Awesome, thank you. So when you come to a website, there are several different areas where you can put information for people to find. And most of us these days are pretty used to finding information in two places. One is a drop-down menu at the top, and the second is the footer at the very, very bottom. So the top header menu and the footer menu. We're going to go into the bowels of WordPress in a second and show you another menu that hasn't been used for quite a few years, but still exists. It just probably would play some, it would, I don't know if it would wreak havoc, but it would definitely play some interesting games with your website if you tried to use it. So when you come to just a basic website, you have almost everybody, you have your home. And then in this top drop-down menu, as you hover over, you see all of the different options pop up underneath the drop-downs. And sometimes there isn't a drop-down, it's just a straight link. What we're going to look at today is how we change this information in the drop-down menu. And then also we're going to scroll down at the very bottom. There's two different footer menus down here. Here we have the standard menu with just the same kind of links from up at the top. It's not an exact copy of these drop-down menus. These do not have sub menus beneath them. They are just straight individual links. So we select what goes into here if you have this on your website. And then you also have your footer menu, which usually has your address, contact information, some social media links is fairly common down there. And you might have a couple other like contact us or other quick links at the very bottom. Usually the idea is if somebody has scrolled all the way down to the bottom of your page and they haven't found the information they need, they can get to something here. Either it's a searching the website for it, or there's the contact information for getting a hold of you. So this is a pretty standard menu setup for most of the websites. And so let's take a look at what that looks like on the back end if we go into our dashboard. So we're coming up to our standard WordPress dashboard. And we have there's going to be two places that you can update menus. The most common one will probably be under Appearance, but just know that also under the Divi theme options, there's also a place to update menus under here. Most of the time, we're going to use Appearance. Actually, I'm wondering, oh no, I'm going to jump back here for just a second because I do want to say the caveat. Do you see this blue bar at the very top of the website? Give me a thumbs up if you're seeing the phone number and the email address and the Facebook link. Okay, file this away. This is part of the Divi theme. This is not part of a WordPress menu. You are not going to find a place to change this information in the appearance place where we are going right now. Just know that. Just take that, file that away. We will come back to that. This information is updated in a completely different location than what we are about to look at right now. Okay, so what we're going to look at right now is how to edit our drop-down menus. When you hover over the appearance on the right-hand or left-hand side of the screen, what's going to pop out on the right here is a menu. And under the menu, there is a menu for menus. And when we click on this, you're going to see something that looks a little familiar right here. What popped up first for me is all of the information that is actually in the footer menu. So home, about WVLS, calendar, contact hours, continuing education, public library directory. If I go back to my web page and scroll down to the very bottom of the web page, I see home, about WVLS, calendar, contact hours, continuing education, public library directory, VCAT consortium. These are all the things that are listed here. So if I wanted to edit that menu, this is where I would begin. But there's another thing that we can edit on the same place, and this is where I select a menu to edit. If I wanted to edit the drop-down menu, what I do is I do the drop-down here where it says select the menu to edit, and there's the option for main or primary menu. And when I click on that and I hit select, it is going to give me what is currently in that drop-down menu we saw at the very beginning, which here, when I scroll back up to the top, is home, the about, with all of the sub pages on the about, libraries and the subcategory or sub pages, excuse me, services, resources. All of this is in this menu area. I'm going to pause or speak slowly for a minute. If you're able to, you can take a second to look at your own library's website and see if what you see here is a drop-down menu. Do you give me, if you have a second to look at your library website, if you're able to get to it, and give me a thumbs up if your library has a drop-down menu at the top. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, got quite a few little thumbs ups there. Thank you very much. So this is probably a space that if you need to make changes, you want to file this information away. We are going to look at the main menu, and this is what we are calling our main menu on this, on the WVLS page. It may actually have, it may be called primary, it may be called something slightly different, but you'll recognize it by the content. How do you get something to fall down underneath? Because we have about, and under here we have about WVLS, about we have the board of trustees, we have catalog. What we do is we can actually adjust different things on here to make them main menu links or regular menu links or subcategories. And a lot of this right here is done by dragging and dropping. So you can do a lot with your menu simply by pulling things around and dragging and dropping them into different places. Can get a little messy that way, so just be aware that when you start editing things by dragging and dropping, we can reorder items, we can make them subcategory items. You may want to keep another window open and you're going to hit save menu, refresh your page, take a look at it and make sure that things are actually in the place you want them, because it's kind of easy to pick up something, to click on it, drag it, and it ends up in the wrong spot. Or I could end up accidentally making Gale courses a sub-child or child menu of digitization. If I were to do that, which is fine, I'll make it happen. So right now we've got services with a whole list of different items, and Gale courses got slid in. So when I hit refresh here, and I come to services, now digitization has that little caret next to it. And now I have a layer with Gale courses underneath it. Sometimes you want that to be the case. In this case, we want Gale courses to be its own thing. A word of warning here is, yes, it is entirely possible to like create submenu upon submenu upon submenu. And now you've got sub items coming all like turtles all the way down. If I save that, again, we're talking about website accessibility here. In general, we're always keeping accessibility in the back of our mind. What you end up here with is a pop out here, that pops out here, that pops out here, that pretty soon your mouse is all over the page and you can't control where things are going. So try your best when you are organizing your website to keep things at a higher level. Sometimes it's easier to have a longer list of items rather than to have a pop out upon pop out upon pop out. And you're just getting too many things in a menu to be able for people to be able to find it. So how do I add something to this menu? My example, the most common idea that has been, at least in the last few months, has been summer reading. So in April or May, there's a lot of requests for help to get summer reading information onto a website. And you want to have that information on your website, but you don't want it there necessarily after August or whenever your summer reading program ends. So if you wanted to add you have a summer reading page, you want to have it on your front page menu, but then you want to be able to remove it again. That's when I get the most requests for menu updates. So how do you get something onto your menu? I have, in this case, what you would do is you would create a page or a post or a link, and you have this option over here, or the add menu items over here, and you're going to have a list of all the pages on your website. So if you have created a summer reading page, it would then be listed on this list of pages. If you have a post about summer reading, it would be listed on this list of posts. If you have a link to an outside website, maybe your summer reading event, you have a summer reading event that has its own URL because it's such a big deal, you can actually do a custom link in here. Or if you want every single post that had to do with summer reading and you've tagged all of your posts as summer reading category, you could select that and create a category selection. I'm going to revisit this in a second with another example on another website, because in this case, most of your menu items are going to be pages. So let's look at this example on this page. Let's say that we wanted to add the VCAT library card FAQ to our main menu on our website. I would click the box that says the title of the page I'm after and click add to menu. It is automatically going to add it to the very bottom of our menu. So if I were to save the menu this way, and refresh our page after it's saved, now I have library card FAQ right next at the same level as calendar. That's where it would by default put it. Let's say, want to have this. I'm actually going to scroll and I'm going to drag it up as best I can. Again, this is where the drag and drop thing can be a little challenging. Now I just sort of dropped it in the middle. If most of your menus won't be quite this complicated, but let's say I want the VCAT library card FAQ right under resources. I could drop it in here. It is now a, oops, see, that's what I mean, accidentally dragging and dropping. It is now a sub item underneath resources. And I'm going to click the save menu. Wait for it to finish updating. Reload my page. Library card FAQ is gone. And now under resources, I have the VCAT library card FAQ page right there in my main menu. So we have that right up top. There isn't really an automatic way to sort items or, alphabetize. the WVLS page is a little bit of an exception because we have lots of resources for libraries to work with. Your library website probably will not have quite as many reasons to have as many distinct page menu options. So it is really better. Cleaner is better, but it is a way to add things to your page. Now let's say I wanted to delete this. Summer reading is over. So we are going to remove our page from our menu. All you do is have to click the caret next to, or on the right hand side of the item, and click remove. Save menu. Wait for that to update. We hit resources and we're back to just adults under resources. So that's how you would add a page that already exists or a post that already exists to your website main menu. Editing the footer menu is again basically the same. You would select the footer menu and click select. If you wanted to add something to your footer menu, if you wanted to add that same library card FAQ and add it to the menu beneath, and I will put it beneath the VCATS consortium, save that menu. And again, we will scroll down, and now this time at the bottom, I now have VCAT library card FAQ after the VCAT consortium. Remember that our websites are dynamic and they will reorganize the information based on the size of the page. So because they are responsive designs, you'll see down here that our menu has now collapsed itself so that it is slightly, so that the menu is so that is why you will get a wrap. If you have too many items in a menu for a standard desktop, or if you're looking at it on a smaller screen, the menu items will wrap themselves down underneath. You'll notice this more in the header menu. As you get too many items across the top, you'll end up with a second layer. And that goes back to our early pre-recording discussion about the notification bar. I can give you some hints as to where to put a notification bar, but what we're finding is that everybody's menu is a slightly different size because of the number of items in it and the font size that you're using. So just know that you may need to play with things because your mileage will vary based on your website. Okay. Any questions on navigating and updating items on your header or footer menus? It's kind of a lot of new information, so I want to make sure everybody's, just as a quick review, you would click on appearance, menus, and then you select which menu you want by either main, primary menu, or the footer menu. I am not going to show you today how to create a new menu. That's when we get into website design. And that, if you want to play around with that, more power to you, but I should say, don't try crying to me for help. We don't have a footer menu, but we don't have a footer menu, but we do have a footer. If you wanted to add a menu, okay, I was just going to say I wasn't going to show you how to create a new menu. Maybe I will show you. If you did want to add a footer menu, if you wanted to create a new menu, you would click on create a new menu. Please stick to footer menu. When you get into the secondary menu, a secondary menu is the old school sidebar, and that can really throw off your Divi arrangement. So let's stick to either creating, or if you don't have a footer menu, you can create a footer menu, and then you would click create menu. And then it would ask you the exact same things. Do you want to add pages, posts, custom links, or categories to it? And you can select any of your existing items to add to it. Okay, and Rita asks, what happens if you add a post and not a page? I can demonstrate that. Let's go back. We'll cancel out of We will cancel out of making a menu. And let's look at posts. Let's see, we'll do the July inclusive services update. We'll add it to the menu. Same behavior as posts, or as same behavior for posts as for pages. The July services update will add to the end of your menu. And so let's say this is something we wanted under resources. So I'm going to scroll up. Actually, no, I'll put it on professional development just because it's easy to get to. I'm going to put it underneath professional development. I'm going to save my menu. Let that load. We'll hit refresh here. And here we have the July inclusive services update. So it uses the title of the post as the title for the menu. And if I click on this, this will take us to the permalink for our post. So now we have the inclusive services update and it just takes us right to the link that was included in that update. So that can be useful. Might be, I was gonna say it's not in our main menu. I was just checking to see. That might be helpful for you if rather than creating a whole new page for something, but you had some information that you wanted included, we could do that. You can do a post and just create a link for a post. It's easier than making an entire brand new page. It just doesn't allow you to include quite as much information for, in most posts, what you're going to see is your featured image, and then you're going to see the text that is included in the post. You won't have all of the detail that a page has. If we wanted a menu item to more and we wanted to create a custom link. Okay, so that's actually would be kind of fun to do. Let me delete our post. And I'm going to, on the WVLS page, why not? Not categories, sorry, custom link. And come up here. So are you, I'm catalog. Let me see if I can just get to your generic. So you're talking about like the more catalogs, so that I just want to see if that's, so you want to add a catalog link. You would come over to search for your item, come to the menu bar, right click and copy that. Go back to the menus where it says custom links and it's going to ask you for your URL and paste into that spot. And then your link text. This is where you have to give it a title so it will actually appear in your menu. Search the more catalog. Add to menu. And again, it's going to add it to the very bottom. And so now we have search the more catalog. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop this underneath. Even though it's not professional development, you understand what, I can reach it there pretty easily. Save that menu. Refresh. After it's done updating. And now we have search the more catalog underneath our parent, and this is our link in our menu. Do you guys want to know about categories now, since we've seen links and posts? For what a category would look like, I'm going to actually show you our in progress. I should get one of those late 90s, whatever, under construction signs for this website. But we have a brand new training website. This is training.librarieswin.org. I'm going to throw this into the chat. This is the website where I will be placing our new training documentation. And as we have as I have time and we have new information, we will create pages and posts about tips and tricks. The menus, how to add things to your menu will be added to this soon. Has a training calendar. and has a couple different footers going on here. But what is different about this one is that these up at the top are all, other than the homepage, the website 101, website training, and these are category links. So as I've created website, or as I've created training documentations, I've added them to some different categories. And website 101 is going to be a category that has very, very basic posts, like how to log into your website for the first time. Website training is going to be the items that are a little more complicated or a little more advanced. So as you're progressing in your website experience, there'll be more things under that website training of interest to you. Let me log in so you can see the backside of this. Training, ST, traininglibrariesone.org. So when I come down to my appearance and menus here, you'll see that I have the home page is just a front page link. Then my website 101 is a category link. The website training is a category link. And then demonstration pages is a page. And I'll explain more about that one in a second. But we're looking mainly at the website 101. So I've created a category and I had to give it a navigation label. And it is going to pull anything that any posts that I have categorized as website 101. So we should see, I'm looking at my post lists right now. I just went over to posts and I have all of the things that I've created for the website so far. And website 101, there should be 3 of them. So when I click on the website 101, it's going to give me everything that is in that website 101 category. So I have Divi Builder 101, creating a new blog post for my website, and accessing your website for the first time. And this will just pull anything, but it pulls it in date order. So it's going to show the newest thing that was posted most recently at the top, unless I go in and tweak that and tell it to do it in a different order. But that's a whole other conversation and a whole other office hour. Again, for website training, there should be 2 items in here that I have managed to get up. And sure enough, there is copying and cloning for your, because the other one, sorry, that's because this one is a draft. So website menus is the draft that I started, which will be appearing. So today's training will be appearing on the website as a written document, and a link to this training video will be on this, and it will appear as once it's done, you click on website training and it will be the next post on this list. Just a quick tour while we're here, and I did mention if you are on the website, on this training website, so the structure that we are creating, there's a Divi Builder 101 is the title, the date it was posted. The content in text will be here. And there is an option to jump to recipe by clicking jump to video. And then you can watch the corresponding office hour that was recorded right here, embedded right in the website, rather than having to go to the YouTube page. So all of this is development in progress, but if you want to see the written instructions for anything, that's your learning style, it's available here. And then the video is available down beneath it. And so that would be how you would create category menu items. Okay, any questions on adding different items to your menus? Everybody hanging in there? Give me a wave or a thumbs up, or as long as you're not sleeping. About 1 person, 2 people awake. Oh, 3. Okay. Does anybody want to know how to edit the information at the very top of their page, which I told you was in a different place? So do you want to be able to edit the phone number and email address? Got a couple yeses here. Okay, you're hanging with me. That's awesome. So as I said, that is in a completely different place. So if I go back to my dashboard and I scroll down to my Divi theme, and this is where I always have to stop. So I'm going to give me a second. It's under Theme Customizer, I think. And okay, so here's an area that you can kind of, this is going to get confusing because this is where Divi and WordPress, where the differences can start. It can be, they can start to soften. You can start to not remember whether it is a part of the WordPress aspect of your website or whether it's part of the Divi theme part of your website. And so you may very well know that you've seen it once and now you don't remember how to get back to it. Hopefully we'll have this in the training so you'll be able to go to it, but you can, and then we can also figure that out if you needed to by sending a ticket in to look at that. Rita says we have blacked that menu out, but it misbehaves on a mobile device. Oh, that's good to know. That might be something to play with in future websites when we start talking about. We can look at that together, Rita, but otherwise that might actually be something to address in future website hours on mobile and responsive design and when things look different in different places. A quick overview of this is like when we are in the Divi customizer, this is going to give a lot of things that have been set up for you when your website was first designed. Some of this is set up with accessibility already in mind. So we ask that you don't play in here too much. I'm going to show it to you today because there's a few things that you can change. But if you start making a lot of changes in here, your website can look very different and can lose some of their things very quickly. But what we are going to look at is just a couple of the themes. The site identity, just so you see what's happening in here. We're just going to scroll down through this very quickly until we get down to menus. The general settings, your site identity is where you get that little thing on the tab that appears and gives it you get a logo or something. There's the generic, you can have just a generic internet page, but you can also upload a little mini logo into your tab. You would do that under site identity for there. Again, don't play with the layout settings too much. The typography is also set out for accessibility and your background. This is where it can get confusing because we've just been in talking about WordPress, about menu bars, about the primary menu bar. Now you have a primary menu bar, but there's no information here. What it is this where the color and behavior of that menu bar is set. And the secondary menu bar, which we don't use, and the header elements. This is where you want to go to edit the information in that piece. So when you come in, I'm going to back all the way out again just to bring you in fresh. We're in our dashboard. We want to edit this information at the top. And we're going to click down, come down to, because it's not under the appearance menu. It is not here. We are coming down to the Divi Builder where we have the theme customizer. Let this load for a second. The theme customizer gives us a live preview of our web page. The information we want to get to is under header and navigation and header elements. This is where you can change your phone number, you can change your email address, and you can show your social icons if you have them. I happen not to have any social icons for this page. And you can show or not show a search icon. You see this is a live preview. So if I needed to change my phone number, it would show it as I'm doing it. So if I wanted to put in what will eventually be my phone number, I could put that in there, but right now we're using this. And then to make sure your changes stick, you click publish, and then once it's up here, it will cue you to. If you haven't clicked publish, it will remind you to click publish. So occasionally you have to change your phone number, and that does come up in there. And there's also some libraries put their hours in there and want to try to change that on occasion as well. Hey, any questions on those menus? There is a menu we have not talked about today, and that is the menu that there's yet another footer menu, and I'm trying to figure out the right way to say that. Because there are different ways this can appear on different websites. And some of your websites are set up one way and some are set up another. And you can edit that information. It's not difficult, but it does depend on how your website is set up. A lot of yours will have just a section at the bottom of your home page. And when you edit the information on that home page, so if you simply come into your home page and you make a change and you click update, it will be a global change across your website. So if you need to edit your hours, you could also do it with the visual builder on the front. Click enable visual builder. You can always do things on the front end or the back end. So you have your hours here. You can click there and edit your hours, or you can use the visual builder when it loads. Scroll down to the bottom and you can make changes. Oh, actually, I totally lied. Because again, my website is set up differently. So this is not actually a good example. Whose page should I use? If I wanted to edit this part, this is what's called a Divi global footer. And that's what I mean by some of your websites are set up a little differently. This Divi global footer does not appear on your page. So I actually don't have that here. It appears back in those menus that we were just looking at about Divi. Yeah, so Kathy, this is where it gets confusing. Some of your websites have the footer menu that changes information that you can edit from a page, and some you have to edit from the Divi theme where we were just looking for the social information. This is where it's going to depend on your page, but you can almost always edit everything by using the enable a visual builder. So if you click on that, enable visual builder, and here's how you can know. Yeah, I'm not going to restore the autosave. If you scroll down here and I hover over it, it turns bright green. And the bright green, which is not a common color in your Divi, remember our Divi is set up to have the purple means the whole page. Blue is a section on your page. So if I scroll up just a little bit and I hover over this, I've got a blue section here. Green is row and black is your module. Now suddenly I have this bright green. It's a completely different green than this kind of aqua color, sea green for the row. This is a bright lime green that is for your edit your footer template. And I apologize if you're red-green colorblind. I am not quite sure if you can possibly see a difference other than tone. The edit the footer template, if you do that, you can edit it here and it will make a global change across your website. The only other place to change this is in the Divi theme customizer. So a lot of times it's a lot easier to do it right here, right on your page that you want edited. Just click on the visual builder, make your changes, and then either Control S or click Save to save your changes. The other option for a footer is that you may have in your website page itself, you might have a global section. And this section will be, again, that bright lime green color, and it will say global on it. And that is something that's going to appear on every page of your website. It might even appear on posts. I'm not, or it won't appear on posts, but it would appear on pages. So I'm not going to delve too much into what those exact differences are, other than if you wanted this footer on your post page, then you would use the Divi theme page. If you just wanted your footer on a page, then you can use the global. And everybody's website is set up just slightly differently in that. You might have one option or the other, and you might have some tweaks on those options. So it really is a matter of looking at your website and seeing what you have. Okay. Raul says that the visual builder might be acting up. You're waiting and it's not displaying anything. The visual builder can be, it can be very sensitive to several things. It can be sensitive to your internet speed. It can be sensitive to the processor on your website or on your computer, if your computer is a little bit slower. And it also it might be sensitive to a browser. I have tried it in all the different browsers, but I would always make sure that your browser that you're using, whether it is Firefox or Edge or Chrome, make sure that it is fully updated, and that you're running if there's any question about your internet speed, it could be that. And it's just not working on the homepage. Very interesting. If that continues, give it, like, I would try it on another computer, try it in another browser. When things like that happen, do some troubleshooting as far as like, is it my computer? Is it my internet? It was a really good test. It's like, it's only on this page and not on this page. Try it in a couple different places. The homepage is usually the most complex. It has a lot of times the most modules, the most information. So if a page is going to have trouble, it's probably going to be, unfortunately, the homepage. But try it in a couple different situations. If you're still running into issues with it, please send in a ticket. There is a chance that it could be something on the back end that is causing a hiccup, or causing a loading issue. So, and we want to be aware of that. So if you do continue to have problems with that, please send in a ticket to your help desk, and we'll get, that's something that I might actually need to call in reinforcement for. So, but it does happen. Okay, so that is your overview of menus, with the caveats that your mileage may vary depending on how your website is set up. If you have specific questions, any last minute questions that I should share on a recording, or I can pause the share or pause the recording and pause the share for a second. Just keeping an eye on chat. Okay. Well, if that is good, I am going to stop the recording. I'm going to stop my share. Pause my share and stop the recording here.